Good afternoon, everybody. Good afternoon, everybody. Giving honor to my Lord and Savior, Jesus Christ, the Holy Spirit that fills me, and the God, the Father who created me and gave me purpose to thrive well, the board members, executive director, staff, class instructors, personal trainers, donors, warriors, survivors, thrivers. Thank you all for this opportunity for me to stretch my nerve in front of hundreds of people. If only there were a job I did every day where that happened. So I want to give a shout out to my KENS 5 family who really supported me through my treatment as I survived cancer twice and my journey into thriving. Thank you, President and GM Tom Curry. Thank you, Deborah Knapp, for being we call her the queen, y'all, because she is gracious royalty and leadership. I absolutely love her. Thank you, Jack Acosta, Executive News Director. Don't let his face fool you. He transformed my life. He is an absolutely outstanding person. And thank you, Clark, for being a supportive friend of mine. When I need a tear and I don't need to shed them, I know who can shed them for me, and that's Clark. I'm going to give a special thank you to my fiance who flew in from Columbus, Ohio, and if you know her, it is a feat to get her to separate from Ohio healthcare and her business that she owns on the side. Thank you so much, Felicia. You did it when I was going through my battles, and thank you, and I can't wait to make you Mrs. Marvin Hurst this summer. So when it came to this message, I thought I had a singular way that I would be able to express myself, and it turns out I just do not. So I will present this 3 ways: the journey, it's personal, and have I met my expectation? So let's start with the journey. So I remember it kind of being the mother of all sinus infections. I was like, what is going on with me? All I need to do is go and get some over-the-counter drugs and this will all be over very soon, but that was not so. The trip to the doctor sent me to the ENT, and the ENT told me that I had throat cancer. It was confirmed right after Christmas. I said, this is perfect. So I told my mother, who 3 months earlier, who had lost her eldest sister, my Aunt Susie, to cancer. Now mom's only child confirms the worst news that she could possibly get after Christmas. Told Felicia, she got emotional. They flew in along with my father. We met, where's Dr. Lon Smith? Dr. Lon Smith. I went in to see Dr. Lon Smith. I remember the evaluation, I remember the prognosis, and then Jennifer Armstrong, Dr. Smith's nurse, came in and she was going over my treatment in such detail. Jennifer, I thought I was going to pass out. I don't know if you saw it in my face, but I thought I was going to pass out. So it was stage 4 throat cancer, and I knew that from my visit with my ENT. I had him write it down, but I never committed it to memory because I didn't want it to ever give it any permanent space. It wasn't like I was in denial or anything like that. It's just that I wanted to commit my focus to getting healed, to moving on and getting on with life. And so at the start of it, that's what I did. I focused on healing and having faith, and death was never an option for me. And I know I don't control that, somebody else does, but for me, I just did not think that death was ever an option, so I didn't open myself up to that. So I found a way of making this journey in faith through writing and sharing it as spiritually led to as many people as I possibly could on my Facebook page, because I felt it was my responsibility. I didn't think that I was suffering just for Marvin. I thought that I was suffering for other people's families who have cancers, who have caregivers, families that are dealing with that, and people who are living with cancers. I believe that you suffer alone by choice, but you suffer with support for a reason. And that reason has me standing here speaking before you today. So the support and prayers from this community were just absolutely overwhelming. I still have letters and emails and cards. There's a traveling cancer journal that came to me that I'm supposed to pass on to someone else when I feel the urge to pass it on, and I will do that. And there are just many things about the beginning of this journey that I want to share with you. So chemo was no walk in the park, but the perspective from that treatment chair warmed me over. I got a chance to really not focus on me so much. I was really looking at everybody else in the room. It was just like the theme today. It was cancer in every color, cancer at every age. And I thank God for my suffering and for my treatment, because it gave me a reason to move forward with life in a very different way. It taught me how to downsize my life. All of that stuff had to move out of the way. It made me really focus in on what really matters and be intentional about my living. I trimmed the so-called fat of friends and distractions. I didn't set out to be an example, but my faith made me one. But that would be tested. By the time I reached radiation, I had come to realize just how brutal this treatment thing could really be. At the time, I was doing a station-launched franchise or segment that we call Neighborhood Eats. So I traveled to Canyon Lake, to Granny D's, home of the hubcap pancake. And there I was, doing the big taste test, had Granny D's big hubcap pancake and everything else they laid out there on the table, and I was getting ready to do my signature line, and so I'm trying to muster up the energy to do it, and then it goes, if you have some place that you want me to go, all you have to do is drop me a line on my KENS 5 Facebook page or send me a tweet. Just don't forget to hashtag it at KENS 5 Eats. But I couldn't do it. My voice was in neutral. It left me. I couldn't hit the highs, so I had to settle for whatever came out. Then as I continued to go on the shoots, the right side of my mouth just lost all taste. So there I was trying to do Neighborhood Eats, chewing on the left side of my mouth. But we made it through it. And there was no promise that I was going to ever get my taste buds back again. So close to 35 days into this radiation, I asked the doctor, could you raise up off the gas? This is getting kind of brutal here. So he gave me a couple of days because I was really starting to lose my voice. And there were weekends that I would actually sit at home and I wouldn't talk to anybody just so that I could rest my vocal cords to go back to work. So I built up the strength to go to church. Is Stephanie in here? Stephanie, hold your hand up. Yeah. Stephanie, you remember the Wednesday night that I came to church and all that came out of my mouth was a whisper? I just needed prayer. So they prayed for me, and by Friday, my voice was completely gone. Nothing could come out. This is how I make a living. What am I going to do? But I tell you what, prayer and faith. The very next day, faith led me to KENS 5. I was working on a special report about a police officer and an unarmed bystander who got killed. I thought it was very important to get this story out, and I wanted to get it out. And there was no demand from my bosses to do this, but I wanted to get this story out. So I go into the audio booth and I'm trying to squeeze out a voice, and very little would come out. I got 2 styrofoam cups of water, and what should have taken me 10, 15 minutes to voice the script took me nearly 2 hours. So I talk a little bit, drink a little bit, talk a little bit, drink a little bit, erase it. So after the 2 hours, I just said, okay, that's all I can do. I sound like a nasally penguin. I'll just have to live with it. So my boss saw the piece after we put it together, and my voice had actually gotten better by that time. I said, I want to go back and retract this. And he said, nope, leave it the way it is. And I'm so glad, Jack, that you made me do that. Because it reminded me of the journey. It reminded me of the pain. It reminded me of the times that I was not trying to force myself to be strong, but I was just strong because I was leaning in on my faith. And because of that, folks, I couldn't believe it. I was like, here, the nasally sounding penguin wins an Emmy for this story. By June of 2019, a post of me being cancer-free went viral. Remember that? I still have your recording in my phone. When you said, Marvin, you're cancer-free, I made you read it on there. And there I am with my big smile and my cancer-free sign. My journey had strengthened me, my faith streamlined my life, brought me closer to the ones that I love, and gave me a reason to celebrate on the other side of pain. I thought I had learned my lesson, but 6 months later, December 2019, I thought it was my wisdom tooth, so I went to the dentist. They said, nope, don't see anything. Went back to the ENT. He says, Mr. Hurst, it is back again. So the news hit me like a ton of bricks, and again, I looked beyond my condition and asked God, what am I supposed to learn from this? I mean, I've committed to faith. So after a very confirming and sobering meeting with Dr. Smith, who said, you may have to put on your big boy's pants. I remember that. It was stage 4 cancer again. My relatives cried at the news, but I went home and I got still. I got super still. And so I listened until God said to me, Marvin, this is about warfare through prayer. And I said, this is personal. What could be more useful and personal than the power of prayer? So that's what I did. I got personal with cancer. I said to cancer, how dare you attack the life of an overcomer? Because I've done it once and I'm going to do it again. Whose life are you really after? I have already surrendered my life to Jesus, so you can take this, but you will never, ever, ever have me. And I thought to myself, yea, though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I will fear no evil, for he is with me. His rod and his staff, they comfort me. They comfort me. If God is for me, then who can be against me? Is there anything too hard for God? So it was settled. It was on. The fight was going to be personal. From January to December 2020, Dr. Smith had me come in every 3 weeks. I sat down for immunotherapy. I believe it was $27,000 a bag. I believe, which I went, yeah. But payment came to me in a really different way. This personal battle of mine opened the door for me to meet Suzanne Powerhouse Parker, who introduced me to ThriveWell. And I met Jose and I came in and I'm a dude. I became a dude. So to win this personal battle, I thought, they told me first, listen, you got to get your eating in order, cut all that sugar out, all the sweets and stuff. So Suzanne got to work with me on better eating habits, and I can grill, I can cook. Like my future wife over there, we won't even have the kitchen conversation, right? By February 2021, Dr. Smith told me I was cancer-free again. And we have continued to check, and I remain in remission. So that leaves one part. Have I met my expectation? That came as an epiphany during a couples Bible study with Felicia. I needed to take care of my body. That is an expectation. So I signed up for the personal training provided to me at no cost by ThriveWell and its generous donors. Thank you, Michael, for keeping me on the road to my expectation. I'm trying to learn Tai Chi. David, please be patient with me about my form. It is provided to me at no cost by ThriveWell and the generous donors. And then my truly most challenging class is provided at no cost by ThriveWell and its donors, Pilates and yoga. Song is a strong teacher who challenged my expectations in areas I didn't know I had expectations. And even the fill-ins, Lilium and Kip, they didn't let me off the hook because they were subbing, and Jose even came in off of the bench and trained me too, pushing me toward my expectation. Look, I get it. Cancer is a different journey for all of us. Everyone who has become a victim of cancer is just not here with us today. We have warriors who are on the other side, whose voices we miss, whose stubbornness that we sometimes think about and it makes us giggle. We miss the times that we were with them in the kitchen, reading with them, going on trips, or just having them present. A month ago, I had two relatives. Two relatives died within 12 hours of each other, both with cancer. One with pancreatic, and my cousin Christopher, he had throat cancer, and he didn't make it. So I know I am here for a reason. If it is the ministry of cancer warriors, survivors, thrivers, then I'll do it, because that pulpit walks with me wherever I go. Thriving should be the easy part after coming out of such a battle, but for me, it has really become the most difficult part for me because it is really significant. I am still on this journey, newly promoted as an anchor, right, Jeff? Soon to be a husband and hopefully a God-fearing father, right, Felicia? So if I could leave a takeaway or two with you, I would ask you to take a moment to assess and recognize your journey. Know that you cannot make it alone. It takes a solid team to help you make it through this. And I ask you to make it personal, because if you make it personal, then you treasure it, you defend it, you'll want to do everything that you possibly can for it. And ask yourself daily, have I met my expectations? Have I done what I'm supposed to do today? So I want to thank you for your time and indulging me and listening to my stories. This moment may not have been possible if not for God, for Dr. Smith, Bonnie, and Jennifer. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. And thank you, ThriveWell, for helping me thrive. Thank you. So, we have a chance to make a difference. That's where the last part comes in. Have you met your expectation? We are living another day, and we are at the threshold of change, and ThriveWell needs your help. You are the carpenters who are equipped to assist others to build better lives. Over the weekend, I heard a speaker talk about a man who had hired a carpenter. I'll shrink the story down because of time. Who hired a carpenter to build a house, and so the carpenter came there with all of his tools, and he built the house, and when he was done, the man says, "It's yours." And the carpenter was like, "Whoa, if I had known that you were going to give me this house, I would have built it in an entirely different way." So the point of this is, don't waste the tools that are in your hand. You never know who you can help. You never know what your house is going to look like. So we're asking you today, if you will, to be a carpenter, to build into ThriveWell financially. This year, ThriveWell will provide more than $3 million in financial, transportation, lodging, and assistance to 1,500 cancer patients. plus 35 diva and dude classes each week. But they need you to help them do this. So give them something to build on. Say yes to funding a wall of health that I can tell you helps us physically and mentally. That comes from the classes or the peace of mind of not having to decide between rent, food, gas, and treatment. Meet your expectation today. Make a donation that is personal to you, if not for you, in the name of someone you love. Cancer is not an easy journey, but I thank God that I had the Start Center and Thrive Well on my side, even with insurance. And thank you, by the way, for giving to this foundation. Your donations will immediately go into action. So there's a song that's going to come up. It's called Stand By You. And while you are deciding to make it personal and meet your expectation, answer that other question. Will I stand by the patients, the divas and the dudes who are coming around to take up your donations? Will I stand by them? I hope you do. Thank you so much.